XRP is trading today in a zone that feels calm on the surface, but under that calm, a storm is building. Analysts and traders are whispering the same question: how much XRP is enough to secure a seat at the table when the rail run begins? Some say 1,000 XRP, others say far more, but the number 1,000 has become a symbol, a rallying cry, a line in the sand between those who are prepared for the next great shift in global finance and those who are not. Think about what 1,000 XRP means today. At these current prices, it's the cost of a nice dinner, maybe a weekend trip, not life-changing, not even something that feels significant. But zoom out 5 years, zoom out to a world where Ripple's partnerships are not potential but fully scaled, where XRP is flowing through corridors in Asia, Africa, Europe, the Americas, where banks, remittance companies, and payment giants use XRP not as speculation but as infrastructure. Suddenly 1,000 XRP transforms. It's not a number, it's leverage, it's entry, it's a claim on the future of money. The forecasts are already swirling, some point to $5, some to $10, others stretch further into $50 or even $100, all speculative, yes. But every cycle in crypto history has taken assets far beyond what analysts thought possible. Bitcoin was dismissed at $100, Ethereum laughed off at $10, and yet those who held, those who accumulated during the flat years, became the legends of the bull market. The charts for XRP tell their own story: consolidation after consolidation, higher lows forming like the steady beat of a drum, volume spikes appearing like thunder before lightning, RSI showing strength building under the surface, moving averages lining up for the kind of golden cross that only comes once in a generation, technicals aligning with fundamentals, a rare moment where chart action and real-world adoption point in the same direction. The SEC lawsuit, the shadow that has hung over XRP for years, is nearing its end. Clarity is no longer a dream but a timeline. Each delay, each filing, each ruling brings us closer to the day when XRP is no longer maybe but approved, defined, and unleashed. That clarity alone could be the spark, unlocking institutional money, unlocking ETF conversations, unlocking utility-driven liquidity on a scale we have never seen before. And this is where the 1,000 XRP argument hits hardest, because while whales debate billions and funds juggle millions, everyday people can still position themselves with 1,000 XRP. It's not unreachable, it's not a fantasy, it's something within grasp right now, today, before the move, before the surge, before the headlines scream what believers already knew. The question is not whether XRP can move. The question is whether you will be ready when it does, because history is ruthless to hesitation. Every bull run leaves behind those who waited, those who laughed, those who wanted one more dip, but rewarded those who acted, those who saw the writing on the wall, those who decided that 1,000 XRP was not a gamble but a chance at generational wealth. This is not hype, this is math. This is history. This is the rhythm of markets repeating themselves again and again. The conversation around 1,000 XRP is not just about price, it's about positioning. It's about preparing for a landscape that is already shifting beneath our feet. Look at the banking world, look at the IMF, the BIS, the endless reports on CBDCs and cross-border payment inefficiencies. Trillions moving slowly, expensively, through corridors built decades ago, corridors that Ripple is targeting, corridors that XRP is designed to fix. 1,000 XRP is not just a number, it is a strategy, because when value transfer itself is being reimagined, the ones holding the tools of that transfer are holding the keys to a new system, and XRP is one of those keys. The remittance corridors of Africa, the partnerships in Asia, the payment rails being tested in Europe, they are not theory, they are already in motion. Forecasts are never certain, yes. But even conservative scenarios paint a picture that forces people to pause. Imagine XRP at $5. That turns 1,000 XRP into $5,000. Imagine XRP at $10. That's $10,000. Now imagine $50 or $100. Suddenly the weekend trip you could have spent that money on becomes a down payment on a house, or the early seed to retire a decade sooner. And yet, it's not only about speculation, it's about the larger transformation of finance, because the utility argument for XRP is unique. Most tokens survive on hype, on memes, on temporary mania. XRP survives on solving trillion-dollar problems. That is why institutions do not dismiss it. That is why banks continue to test it. That is why governments quietly analyze it, because they know the current system is broken, and XRP offers an elegant solution. Look at the charts again. The candles do not lie. Accumulation zones forming like a coiled spring. Whales moving billions quietly off exchanges. Wallets with 6 and 7 figures of XRP sitting untouched, waiting, preparing, and the retail investor still has time to grab 1,000 XRP before the price vaults to levels where even small positions feel impossible. RSI hovers at levels that whisper strength, volume spikes show signs of smart money moving before the crowd, moving averages curving toward a bullish cross, signals aligning like stars in a constellation, and technical traders are not ignoring it. They are watching XRP carefully, calling it the sleeper of the cycle, the asset that could shock the market with speed and force once momentum flips. And what happens when ETFs become reality? What happens when regulatory clarity drops? What happens when Ripple IPOs or announces another megabank partnership? It only takes one spark, one catalyst, to move XRP into the narrative spotlight. And when that happens, when the headlines catch up to what early adopters already know, 1000 XRP becomes more than just a bet. It becomes proof of foresight, proof of conviction. Every cycle has its opportunity asset. Every bull market has the coin that goes from doubt to dominance. And the voices saying don't sleep on XRP are growing louder. Analysts, traders, veterans of the market, all echoing the same theme. XRP is building pressure quietly, beneath the noise, beneath the dismissals, beneath the jokes, and those holding 1000 XRP are in position to turn whispers into windfalls. Because the greatest wealth is never made when it feels obvious. It is made when it feels uncertain, when it feels boring, when it feels like nothing is happening. And that is the exact moment we are in with XRP, a moment of stillness before the storm. The question now is not just why you need 1000 XRP, the question is whether you will take action before the shift becomes undeniable. Because once XRP breaks key psychological levels, once headlines start declaring it the comeback king, once exchanges light up with volume surges, the price of admission rises dramatically. The forecasts keep circling back to one truth: utility always wins, and XRP is a utility token with global reach. Every analyst worth their salt understands this. They can argue about timing, they can argue about regulation, but they cannot deny the fundamentals. XRP moves value, quickly, cheaply, across borders, and that is the single biggest demand driver in the trillion-dollar payment space. 1000 XRP feels small now, but consider how early Bitcoin investors felt when they held just one BTC back in 2012, or how Ethereum holders felt when they grabbed a few hundred tokens under $10. History has a way of rewarding patience and punishing hesitation, and XRP is carving out its place in that history right now. Look at the Fibonacci retracement zones, look at the resistance lines XRP is pressing against. The pressure is building, and pressure always finds release. It does not stay trapped forever. When XRP finally clears these zones, momentum traders will pile in, algorithms will detect the breakout, news cycles will amplify the story, and retail will rush in late, just as the ones holding 1000 XRP quietly take their profits. It's not just technicals, it's macro too. The Fed's rate policy, inflation metrics, dollar weakness, all of these are catalysts waiting to align. When liquidity flows back into risk assets, when altcoins rotate into the spotlight, XRP's low entry price and high institutional credibility make it irresistible. This is the moment investors realize 1000 XRP is not just a hold, it is a hedge. A calculated asymmetric bet with life-changing upside. The noise will grow louder, some will spread fear, some will highlight lawsuits and delays, but step back and see the bigger picture. Ripple is expanding, adoption is growing, whales are accumulating, utility is undeniable, charts are primed, and the narrative is shifting. That is not weakness, that is hidden strength. In the next 5 years, forecasts place XRP at $5, $10, $25, even $100 in bullish scenarios. Skeptics laugh now, but they laughed at Bitcoin under $100, they laughed at Ethereum under $50, they laughed until they couldn't anymore. And that same laughter will turn to silence when XRP rewrites its narrative. 1000 XRP, it is not a gamble, it is a statement. It is a line in the sand saying you understand what is coming, saying you see beyond today's noise, beyond today's volatility, you see the shift that is already in motion. The clock is ticking, the choice is yours: 1000 XRP today, or regret tomorrow.